Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Does everyone know what this song means? That means the show has started. Oh my gosh. It starts so fast. I'm never expecting it. I'm sitting here watching it. I'm reading chat. I'm paying attention to 50 other things, including the puppies. And then the show starts. And I'm like, oh God, I have things I need to do. That's how things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing show for you today. I don't know the names of the judges that are featured in the first story, but the story is less about the judges and the court hearings that we're going to see and more about the former sheriff that was previously on season 2 of 60 Days In, who is sentenced to jail time. And there's a sweet little part towards the middle where he gets contempt and the judge has some choice words for him. So the first story we're going to be looking at is the crooked tale of former sheriff Jamey Noel, who is the former sheriff from Clark County, Indiana, who was the sheriff for the second season of 60 Days In, which in my opinion is one of the more infamous seasons of 60 Days In. You can actually view this if you want to watch 60 Days In after the show and see what some of this was all about and what all the hubbub was about. You can go to Tubi, you can go to Pluto TV, you can go to Netflix. It's available for free on A&E also if you want to watch it. He was a crooked guy. He had some crazy stuff going on. And during his tenure as sheriff, during the episodes of the second season of 60 Days In, there was a horrible accident where sewage started backing up into the jail. Now it was not the sheriff's fault and it wasn't his staff's fault because the sewage was coming up. It was a freak accident that caused but how they handled the situation when the sewage started backing up into the jail, when they had inmates living in sewage for 2 days, count them, 2 days, with barely any fresh water for drinking purposes at all. Well, we'll just say that this sheriff has his karma coming to him, and we're going to go ahead and get it started right now. Shall we?
Captain Scotty Maples. All right, so in this last episode, we see Raw.
Oh, I just want to point something out for everybody, just real quick. I know I'm pulling a call-in on everybody. Oh, wait, that's the wrong hammer. Pulling a call-in on everybody by pausing it, but just real quick right here, I want to point out to you, you got Sheriff Noel sitting right there next to the announcer, and right next to Sheriff Noel, you will see his number one, the captain of his force, and also the gentleman responsible for bringing him to justice. I just wanted to throw that out there. The rest of this video is going to be unmarred.
Southern Indiana sheriff is facing felony charges 3 months after state police searched his house and properties. Late this afternoon, former Clark County Sheriff Jamey Noel was arrested on 15 felony counts related to an official misconduct investigation. Mark Vanderhoff has more on the charges and how the current sheriff tipped state police off.
Jamey Noel was charged with theft, obstruction of justice, ghost employment, and official misconduct. Current Sheriff Scotty Maples says his team discovered possible criminal activities shortly after he took office and reported them to ISP. In August, Indiana State Police executed multiple search warrants at Southern Indiana properties, including Noel's house in Jeffersonville and New Chapel Fire EMS, where he worked. Wednesday afternoon, Noel was arrested at the Clark County Jail. In a detailed statement, Sheriff Maples says state police started the investigation at his request. Maples claims a hidden recording device was discovered in the office of a former assistant chief, which he says was planted during Noel's term. He also says Noel ordered several employees to do maintenance on personal projects while they were on the clock with the sheriff's office. And he claims a family member of Noel's who worked for the department fraudulently requested retirement benefits, even though he did not qualify. In a statement, Sheriff Maples says, quote, "I was disturbed and very disappointed in Jamey Noel's conduct, and the steps he took to conceal information from his staff and me during his tenure as sheriff, but I knew something had to be done. Maples served as chief deputy under Noel. Noel is charged with 15 counts. The judge who was assigned to the case recused himself, so the Indiana Supreme Court is being asked to appoint one to handle the case. Mark Vanderoff, WLKY News.
New tonight, we comb through 600 pages of reports and evidence related to the fraud and corruption case against former Clark County Sheriff Jamey Noel. WDRB's Gilbert Coursey reveals what police seized in raids. Gil.
Yeah, Lindsay, new court records just unsealed today. They reveal police took dozens of cars and more than $50,000 in cash from drawers and dressers after searching Jamey Noel's home, properties he owned, businesses he ran, and those belonging to relatives. Now, this all came after talking to Sheriff's Office employees who say they worked for Noel while they were on the clock and actually getting paid by taxpayers in Clark County. Let's talk about the cars first. Remember, in addition to being sheriff up until 2022, Noel also runs the Utica Volunteer Fire Department and New Chapel Fire EMS. These court documents reveal 133 vehicles registered to those fire and ambulance agencies, some that investigators found inconsistent with a nonprofit fire department or EMS business, like a Camaro, a Dodge Charger Hellcat, and a Corvette. 4 sheriff's employees told investigators they were doing all kinds of personal work for Noel, including building a large garage for those cars, buying them at auction, and transporting them. One worker shared nearly 6,000 pictures, hundreds of videos, and years of text messages between himself and Noel about buying and selling cars. He also had pictures of a Clark County Sheriff's Office credit card and says Noel gave it to him to buy parts for those cars. Also of note, these employees say when they were asked to work extra hours for Noel, like on weekends, the checks came from the Utica Fire Department, where Noel is chief. Noel posted a $75,000 bond. He has pleaded not guilty to tax evasion, fraud, ghost employment, and official misconduct. He is expected back in court in January. Gilbert Coursey, WDRB News.
Well, Vicki, Rick, in yet another curveball in this already complex corruption case, Jamey Noel is back behind bars tonight. For how long? The judge's exact words were 60 days in, referencing the hit TV show that Noel was on when he was sheriff here in Clark County. Now, Noel appeared in court to determine if he violated the conditions of his bond. Noel, his wife, and daughter are out on bail after being arrested for allegedly misusing funds from the Utica Township Fire Department and New Chapel EMS. Last month, during a search of Noel's Jeffersonville home, Indiana State Police recovered firearms that he wasn't supposed to have in his possession. Prosecutors argue he violated the court order. The defense said it was a mistake, suggesting Mr. Noel didn't remember the guns were there. In fact, the defense called Noel's brother-in-law to testify that he was directed by Noel to remove guns from his home. But in the end, the judge had sheriff's deputies put Noel in handcuffs and took him back into custody. And we have a clip of that moment as it happened in court.
I told Mr. Noel, don't do anything stupid. Do not try to deceive me, defy me. You will not like the consequences. Today is that day. You are not the law. You don't interpret the law. You don't enforce the law. You're not above the law. I find that you are in contempt of this court. Take him into custody. No, that's enough. I'll find you guys in contempt for disrupting the proceedings, and you'll be there right there with him. Now, what is an appropriate sanction? The question is, I can sentence him up to 180 days without a trial, or I can sentence him to a day, or I can release him. You know what I think the answer is? 60 days in. That's what I think the answer is today. Now, Mr. Wilder, Yes, Your Honor. Or Mr. Voiles, I apologize, Mr. Voiles, your lead. Before he is released, I'll take your suggestion. I want an independent individual to scour that household to determine that there's no further weapons. I find it, Mr. Hurdle's original argument that he was trying to make that I sustained, an officer of the law, every time I go into court, I hear, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was there. I really didn't. You've heard that a million times. You've heard it a million times, and yet you still take them into custody, would be my guess. Every officer in the world has heard, I didn't know it was there. It's my friends. I'm not buying it. It was your burden. It's your responsibility. And today, the court will enforce that. Take him away.
Very intense moment in court, and Noel kept a straight face the entire time, but Misty Noel, who was also in the courtroom, became visibly emotional as her husband was taken away, and he is expected to go back to Scott County Jail. Now, I will note that all three of the Noels were scheduled to appear in court today. Casey Noel's pretrial conference did happen off the record with her attorneys, but Misty Noel's pretrial conference is rescheduled for next month. Vicki, a judge has yet to accept Jamey Noel's guilty plea even after the disgraced former sheriff came clean about his crimes here in court on Monday. It's because in the fallout of this scandal, the only voices that matter to the judge, are those that Noel hurt. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamey Noel pleaded guilty 27 times in court Monday for years of abusing his power and greed.
Shameful.
But it wasn't enough for Judge Larry Medlock to accept his plea right then, leaving Noel's fate and prison sentence in his hands, and even more so in the hands of those affected by Noel's crimes. Judge Medlock soliciting victims to come forward, even turning to the media to help get word out. On Tuesday, WLKY found it difficult to get Clark County taxpayers whose money Noel admitted to stealing to go on camera. And while there's some reservation from people who Noel did not know personally, members of his own family who are suing him for allegedly stealing from them will likely reveal their hurt at his sentencing hearing.
I know that that we are talking about that.
Amy Wheatley represents the heirs of Noel's late brother, William Leon Noel. Jamey Noel was the executor of his brother's estate.
This was his nephews and his niece.
Among other improper acts in the complaint, Noel sold his brother's Jeffersonville home to his daughter, Casey, who was also named in the lawsuit, and gifted her equity money from the sale. The suit claims Noel also took money from the account and replaced it with funds from Utica Township Firefighter Association. He's also accused of buying a vintage car.
They looked to Jamey to look out for them.
Wheatley says family is relieved at Noel's admission of guilt and the consequences that will follow, but says it does not heal the betrayal.
Do you all ever think you'll get those answers as to why?
No, I don't think so. I mean, no, I doubt it. I think he just felt like he was entitled.
The state has received it also, Your Honor.
Is there any corrections, modifications, supplements, additions?
Your Honor, in fact, I reviewed it with Mr. Noel. There are no additions, no corrections, and no supplements.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder. Mr. Hurdle?
No changes or additions, corrections.
Filed and presented.
We would accept it as filed, Judge. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Would counsel like to make an opening statement?
Judge, on behalf of Mr. Noel, it will be our position to proceed with this sentencing as the court has ordered. We did want to make an objection on the record for non-statutory witnesses who may testify in this matter. On behalf of the defense, we would object to their testimony. Statutory witnesses, we believe, are appropriate. Non-statutory witnesses, we believe, are not appropriate. That would be the only objection and the only opening we would make with this court. Thank you very much.
Response, Mr. Hurdle.
Your Honor, the court at the guilty plea hearing made the statement to invite the opportunity for other victims and people who've been affected or impacted by the crimes or Jamey Noel's actions, the defendant here. And I'm going to defer to the court for reaching out to them. And I have met with these people, and I believe that the court, based on its prior statement, should allow them to do that.
Mr. Walls, I don't know what they're going to say. I did make the request. Those that have been hurt, I wanted to give them an opportunity to be heard. So I note your objection for the record, but I'm going to overrule it.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Would you like to call your first witness?
I would, Your Honor. The state calls Suzanne Davis.
With the court's permission, my chief deputy is going to ask maybe that your staff or the staff of Clark County have 2 or 3 that basically are in here on hold, just to kind of streamline some of the process, if that's okay.
We've already thought about
Okay.
that. Peggy's bringing them 2 at a time.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Nate, for that. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Ms. Davis, would you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Yes, sir. My name is Suzanne Davis, SUZANNEDAVIS.
And Ms. Davis, are you familiar with the defendant, Jamey Noel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you asked the court through the prosecutor's office to come in and make a statement of the impact that Jamey Noel and his actions have had upon you and maybe your family or your career, etc.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I would make for the record, too, that many of these witnesses have prepared a written statement. Some of them will read it, and some of them may not read it. So I just want to at least apprise the court of that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Ms. Davis, you can speak freely to the court. You have about 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Once again, my name is Suzanne Davis. I have been involved in EMS for 16 years, 12 of which I've also been a firefighter. I worked for New Chapel EMS from December of 2020 until April of 2022. There were several things that could have had and also did have an impact on me. One of them was almost career as well as life ending. For one, I was issued inadequate fire gear. I was issued gear that was meant for a person that is 6'2" and approximately 250 to 280 pounds. My mask that I was issued, if I was to make entry into a burning structure, was too big. Therefore, had I had to go into a burning structure, that mask would have not properly sealed. That could have potentially drawn in smoke, superheated gases, and any toxic particles that would be burning in that structure. That would allow that to enter into my lungs. There were also things on the EMS side. There were several times where I was the only paramedic for Clark and Floyd counties. If somebody in Charlestown needed a paramedic level care, I was usually stationed in the Floyd's Knob station at the end of my service with New Chapel, which meant that person would have to wait potentially up to 30 minutes for a paramedic to get there. That's not fair to anybody, in my opinion. Nobody should have to wait that long for an ambulance. There was no regard for employee safety. We worked long hours. We had no downtime. There were times I was sent on non-emergent transfers to Indianapolis, let's say at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, with maybe 30 minutes of sleep through the whole shift. My shift started at 8 a.m., would run all day. Going to Indianapolis on 30 minutes of sleep for anybody is dangerous. Mistakes can be made. My partner could have wrecked. There were times that I requested to leave because I was running a fever, vomiting, just generally sick all around. My supervisor, no, you can't leave unless you find your own coverage. That's the kind of environment that was fostered there. Turns out I had COVID one of those times. There's no telling how many people, immunocompromised or not, in general, were exposed to COVID because of a practice like that. There was no regard for employee mental health. I may not have the whole 5 minutes to speak, Judge, but
I'll let you know, Ms. Davis.
this is my last thing that I want to say. December 2nd, 2021, 12:51 p.m., I was toned out for an unresponsive male in Georgetown. I got on scene, entered the residence. I had to pronounce not only a former coworker, but a friend of mine deceased. My partner received a phone call from one of the command staff telling my partner he needed to pick me up off the floor and go back available. That run almost ended my career. I have put my heart and soul into this profession. I have missed birthdays. I have missed sporting events, band concerts. And this is how employees were treated. This is how we were treated. No regard for our personal safety, no regard for our mental health. None. I had to sit there and look at my friend, dead, and be told to get back to work. There was no support offered to me, except a phone call that started out with, well, we all know he had issues. No support whatsoever. That all went unresolved until August of the next year in 2022, when I attempted to take my own life.
Ms. Davis. Is that a fireman's tattoo on you?
Yes, sir. It is a fire and EMS tattoo on my chest.
I'm sorry I had to experience that. And I'm sorry for the trauma that was imposed upon you as a result of finding your friend deceased. Thank you for the courage to come in and speak today.
Thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome. I wanted to hear from folks like you.
Thank you.
Are you okay now? Getting there?
I'm better. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. My current employer helps.
Good.
Well, that's what.
Good.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself, okay?
And Judge, we have no questions.
Your Honor, the state calls Terry Thornton. I believe actually her daughter is going to be part of this as well.
Okay. Which one's Terry? Hi.
If you could both state your name one at a time and spell it for the record, please.
My name is Anitra Coatley Williams. It's A-N-I-T-R-A, Coatley, C-O-A-T-L-E-Y, Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Ms. Thornton?
My name is Terry, T-E-R-R-I, last name Thornton, T-H-O-R-N-T-O-N.
Ladies, I think one of you is going to speak on behalf of the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is that you, Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Williams, are you familiar with Jamey Noel? And your ask today is that you're able to speak about his actions or his inactions have affected you and your family.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And have you prepared something to give to the court today?
I have.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
My name is Anitra, and I'm here on behalf of my dad, William Morris Thornton, and our family. My dad and my mom, Terry Thornton, were married for over 42 years. He was a well-known and beloved Jeffersonville resident. He worked and retired from Jeffersonville High School after 40 years of employment. Everyone at the school and all over the community loved and respected him. He was loved by so many. On August 14th, 2024, around 2 p.m. or so, his heart suddenly stopped while walking to the restroom. He had no heart issues, no known heart issues. 911 was called. Jeffersonville Fire Department and the Jeffersonville Police Department responded. The fire department came and began CPR while waiting on an ambulance service to arrive. After about a whole hour or so passed, an ambulance service finally came. It was not New Chapel. Our family lives in Capitol Hills neighborhood for over 20 years. New Chapel has always been dispatched to us numerous times and always arrived within minutes. We have a disabled family member, their disabled grandson that we've had to call an ambulance service for several times, and they were always there within minutes. We truly believe that William Thornton, my dad, Terry's husband for over 42 years, would have had a fighting chance of survival if New Chapel was dispatched to us, because they would have not taken all that time to get to us. New Chapel also would have possibly had the resources the fire department did not have, such as a defibrillator or anything else needed that could have possibly saved him. We were told he had been down for about 90 minutes when we got to the hospital finally. We do praise the Jeffersonville Fire Department for all their efforts in trying to keep my dad alive until an ambulance came. On September 13th, 2024, William Morris Thornton would have turned 70 years old. If New Chapel had not have been robbed and was up and running, we truly believe my dad would have had a fighting chance of survival after his sudden cardiac arrest. We hope that nothing like this ever happens to another family because of Jamey Noel's selfishness and greed. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Your loss, ma'am. You know why they didn't show up? Were they already out of business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just know that if they were in business, they would have been there within minutes to help.
Any questions, Mr. Wilder?
Judge, on behalf of Mr. Noel, we have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and talking to me.
Hope Noel, Hopenoel.
And Ms. Noel, are you related to the defendant, Jamey Noel?
Not anymore.
Have you prepared a statement that you wish the court to consider prior to decision on his sentencing here today? If you could explain, you said not anymore. Could you explain that, please?
I'm the ex-wife of Leon Noel, and I have his son, Jack Noel. We have a son together, and then I also have Taylor Noel, who is Leon's son, or Leon's daughter, sorry, not mine, but she also lives with me. And then they have another, there's another son, Dorian, as well.
So these are nieces and nephews of
Jamie's.
Okay. Thank
Can
you.
I speak directly to him?
I'll let you ask the judge that, Ms. Noel.
Feel free.
I want to aim this directly at you, okay? I'm speaking on behalf of Leon's kids. I'm his ex-wife, mother of his youngest son, Jack. We trusted you to handle Leon's estate and give the kids what was rightfully theirs when he passed away. Leon trusted you to do what was right for his children since he was not going to make it. He literally had to make a will in the hospital. Do you remember him passing away? I'm sure you do, since you were there in the hospital with all of us when he did. I don't see how you can say in your Facebook post that your brother Leon is missed and loved after what you've done to him and his children. I believe in you, and I have a very different definition of the word love. I'm not sure why you felt the need to steal from the estate since you were already stealing from everyone else. And you claim to be a Christian man. Did you know greed was one of the 7 deadly sins? Apparently you didn't pay much attention in church. When you gave the checks to the kids from the estate, the amounts were lower than I would have expected, but I did not question it because I was not married to Leon anymore and I did not know his financial status. So I never questioned it. Why would I? His brother, the sheriff, was handling it since you were the executor. Looking back now, I wish I had gotten a lawyer for the kids when he passed. I remember having numerous phone calls with you, trusting you, even sent you a thank you gift of cigars that I contacted John Miller to see what your favorite cigars were. I was grateful that you handled the estate process and wanted to thank you for doing so. I had them sent to your house and you never even acknowledged it or said thank you. Now I know why. Then a little over 5 years later, we find out that you have stolen from the same estate that I thanked you for handling. From your nephews Dorian, Jack, from your niece Taylor, your brother's children who lost their father, like that wasn't bad enough. Now here we are dealing with courts differently than you did your other kids. Leon had more to do with her than you did, and he was just her uncle. At least he didn't steal from her like you did to your nieces and nephews. He was the better brother, the better uncle, and a better father than you'll ever be. Your niece Taylor has written you a letter. I'll read it for you. From Taylor. I am extremely disgusted by your actions towards not only the family but to this county. What you did is unacceptable and will pay the consequences. There is no getting out of this. Because of you, the family now has trust issues. The family never sees each other. The family now has trauma. You really hurt us in a way no family member should ever have to go through. And you hurt this country, or this county, because now we don't trust our elected officials either because of the corruption you've caused. And I hope one day, and if you're ever released, and you can finally be a decent human being because what you have done is pure evil, and I expect apologies to everyone. And she wants to really hope this thing sinks in for you at this part. That Grandma, your mom, Grandpa, your dad, and Leon would be very disappointed in you. Karma is coming for you, and I hope you realize how bad this upsets me. Have fun in prison because you deserve it. Yeah, that's what I want to see right there, is you crying. Finally, some reaction. You've put us through hell.
Hope, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for all the trauma that you and your family have experienced from this.
Thank you for letting me
I
speak.
hope you can heal.
Thank you very much for letting me speak.
You're welcome.
No questions, Judge.
Oh, your next witness, Mr. Hurdle.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Sean Bostock.
Morning, Mr. Bostock.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Wilder, we need to take a short break?
Judge, we prefer to proceed. Thank you.
Sir, would you state your name for the record?
Sean Bostock, SHAWN-BOSTOCK.
Mr. Bostock, do you know the defendant, Jamey Noel?
Yes, sir.
And have you prepared at least some sort of statement that you wish the court to consider prior to the decision today on his sentence to court?
Thank you. Your Honor, once again, thank you. How do you put 20 years into 5 minutes? It's almost impossible. So it's going to be a very abbreviated experience. Jamey, you're responsible for a lot of death in Clark County because of your decision making, my wife's sister being one of them. Your policies, your decisions, and your greed over the responsibility to the county has led to these deaths. One of those deaths being Julia Bissing. You are just as responsible as Mike Hutchins was because your policies allowed that type of behavior. Your Honor, in 2016, Jamey Noel pulled me into his office not too far from where I'm sitting right now, and he described to me how he, pardon my language, runs this motherfucker. He explained that his time at the Indiana State Police, he remained apolitical, therefore he was expedited through the ranks versus having to be paired with a Democrat to move up the ranks. He outlined to me that he wanted the Clark County Sheriff's Department seat as the sheriff because it's the most political power to be paid for. He outlined to me how he would use precinct committeemen. He preferred to have the precinct committeeman positions vacant so that he could appoint them with people that would be an echo chamber to himself, and that's how he ran this. He outlined how the importance of holding the coroner close to him was important. Therefore, it was Terry Conway who was the first coroner for the county. He outlined that people did what he said because they loved to have the power. And this continued all the way to just the week before the contempt hearing where Mr. Noel himself was passing on to his flunkies and his cronies that I killed somebody behind the wheel, which was false and fictitious, that I was a wife beater, which was false and fictitious. This was the way this man ran. You know, shortly after 2004, I had to sue in federal court back then because back then he was stealing from the firefighters and not paying us as we were supposed to be. So I sued in federal court, one of the few that did it, to hold him accountable. And the only thing that did was make him more angry with me. And more times, I went after, not necessarily by him by word of mouth, or him directly, but he would send his flunkies. There were occasions that he would point me out himself. Jamey, you done this to yourself, man. You had the world. You could have done so great for this county. You started New Chapel with the correct frame of mind because you wanted better things for the county. You yourself had a loss because of a long ambulance time. We all realized that. It could have been the right way, but greed took over, man. You took something great and you dwindled it down to where it cost people their lives because of long EMS response times, improper equipment, the CPR vests that the paramedics were asking for. Jamey told them, no. I've got these all chronicled where all these medics and all these instructors came forth and said, we need this equipment. And we're being told no because we don't have any money because it was being paid for Cuba trips and everything else. Meanwhile, he targets everybody that tried to draw attention to it and tried to put an end to it at an earlier time. I believe that this deal guarantees us some accountability. You know, we all have to worry about the corrupt nature of Clark County. You yourself have said on the bench, you know, you don't do things the Clark County way, and I thank you, Your Honor, because I'm afraid if it went to jury trial, the Clark County way may come to the surface. And I beg you to go ahead and accept this offer.
Sean.
That is all.
Thank you, Sean. Sean, thank you for having the courage to speak and communicate your concerns to the community you obviously care about.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Wilder may have some questions for you.
Your Honor, I have no questions of this witness.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder.
Thank you, Your Honor. Statement called Mark Grube.
Morning, Officer Grube.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Grube, would you state your name and spell it for the record?
Mark Grube, M-A-R-K-G-R-U-B-E.
Mr. Grube, I note that you were in uniform today. Could you tell the court your employment and how long you've been employed as such?
I'm the Assistant Chief at the Clark County Sheriff's Office. I've been there since March the 13th, 2006.
Mr. Grube, Officer Grube, did you work as a deputy or an officer under the term of Jamey Noel?
I did.
When he was sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Are you here to ask the court to consider a statement that you've prepared in determining whether or not to accept his plea of guilty today?
Yes, sir.
You may proceed then.
I'm going to try to get through this, Your Honor.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm Mark Grube. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Clark County Sheriff's Office. For the past year and a half, I've been the presiding witness for the Indiana State Police in their investigation into Jamey Noel's criminal action. I'm on the top two lines of every probable cause affidavit.
I recall seeing them, Mr. Grube.
Each day, I was impressed with two of the best investigators I've ever met, in Jeff Herron and Chris Hansen. It's been a privilege to work with them. Throughout this investigation, I have seen firsthand the damage Jamey has caused, damage that reverberates not only within the walls of our law enforcement agency, but also in the hearts and lives of the people of this county. The personal impact of this investigation has been profound, and I have a lot of truth to tell today. I pray someone does some good with it. I hold in my hand a Post-it note. The handwriting on the paper says 1 p.m. the 7th, Doug Carter. It is the note I wrote down the moment Sheriff Maples and I decided to contact the Superintendent of the State Police to begin this investigation. We did so after I started looking into falsified documents we had found. It's been over a year since that call was made for the meeting on June 7, 2023. Identifying who initiated this investigation should not be difficult. Sheriff Maples and I did. No deal was made. No attempt was made to cover up someone else's actions or save the current sheriff. We called because it was the right thing to do. When that call was made, Sheriff Maples and I were deeply concerned for the well-being of the community and the men and women of the Clark County Sheriff's Office. We knew they would ultimately pay the price for what was to come, and this concern has been a driving force in this investigation. During this time, I have met so many people and heard so many stories of how they were affected by Jamey Noel's actions. And when I first stepped forward in this investigation, I was met with hostility from many of Noel's associates. I was accused of being a pawn in a political attack, but I knew that was not the case, despite Jamey trying to tell the world that's what was happening to him. While I didn't particularly appreciate hearing that's what people thought, I understood. I too had defended Jamey Noel at different points in my career on what I now know are false beliefs, and for that I deeply regret and apologize. As I told Jamey in our last conversation in April of 2023, I had placed him on a pedestal he did not deserve. From the beginning, I hoped the truth would emerge and everyone would eventually see how Jamey had manipulated, used, and damaged those around him. Witnessing how deeply his actions had affected many, especially those who trusted him, is heartbreaking. Jamey did hire me as a police officer at the Sheriff's Office, where thankfully I had already served nearly 10 years as a corrections officer. My service as a corrections officer solidified my loyalty to the agency and not to any one person. That loyalty is to the people, not to a single man. The difficult part about the past year and a half is the public perception that as sheriff, Jamey somehow owned the deputies. From the criminal allegations against him, it seems Jamey believed that too. But this office is more significant than any one person. It is not defined by who holds the title sheriff. The men and women who work here are hardworking, honest, and dedicated. Many employees served long before Jamey and will continue to serve long after. The actual damage here lies with them. They will forever carry the burden of his actions. I know I will. Personally, my career aspirations have been affected. I had always considered running for sheriff. But Jamey has tarnished and dimmed that possibility. The negative effect he had on my family, I will never be able to explain. It was only after I discovered potential criminal behavior at the sheriff's office that I was able to see who he was and what he had done to me. Time lost with my family, vacations ruined, and emotional damage you caused, I will never be able to repair. As a father, how do I explain to my 4 teenage boys that the person we followed was not who we thought he was, or who I told them he was? The truth is all that can heal that. I will forever carry with me the reality that I truly believed you were someone you weren't. There are so many people out there, I am sure, who share that same guilt. Those of us who served in his administration and those of us who considered him a friend will forever be associated with his actions. We will never be able to remove the photos of us volunteering in his campaign, and we will never be able to relay just how much we believed he was the man who would restore integrity to the sheriff's office. We will always have to answer the question, how didn't you know? For me, the answer is simple. Jamey told me he owned the for-profit EMS service, New Chapel EMS, and that he had nonprofit contracts with Utica and New Albany for fire service. He told me the business was lucrative, and I believed him. In the sheriff's office, Jamey ran things as a one-man show. Anyone who dared ask financial questions was chastised, criticized, and bullied. When I was responsible for jail operations, I was forbidden from asking how many positions we had available, and I was forbidden from asking financial questions to his secretary, as she was forbidden from discussing finances with us. I have a few last things to close up here, if you can give me just a moment, please.
Yes, sir.
To the Noel family and friends who were not complicit in his actions. When Sheriff Maples and I contacted the Indiana State Police, we had no idea the scope of what would unfold. We didn't foresee the suffering so many of you would endure, from internet attacks to personal attacks. So many of you were only guilty of believing you were his friend, brother, nephew, cousin, and I am deeply saddened that lifelong careers were lost because of this. I'm deeply saddened that his actions forever ruined solid friendships and bonds. You are not responsible for the things Jamey did, period. To Jamey, I say this. The men and women who wear this badge are more significant than the damage you caused. They will move forward and they will persevere, but no sentence, no matter how severe, will ever make them whole. You've done irreparable damage to countless lives, reputations, and careers. Your sentence is necessary, but for me, today marks the beginning of moving forward. Judge Medlock, I encourage you to let us begin the healing process. Let this community move forward. Let the first responders in this community start rebuilding the trust that were lost because of this man's actions. I applaud you for the way you've handled Mr. Noel. As you're aware, his actions were flagrant. I hope today is an opportunity to close the door on his 15 minutes and get him off of our television screens and off to the Department of Corrections. Thank you.
Officer Gordon, thank you for your honor and your character.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilder may have some.
Your Honor, we have no questions of the Assistant Chief. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Officer Green.
Call your next witness. Mr. Hurdle, any other witnesses?
Your Honor, the state has no other witnesses to present to the court.
Mr. Wilder.
Your Honor, we only have Mr. Noel who has a statement for the court, Judge.
I want to call the probation officer that prepared the pre-sentence investigative report first.
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you find Ms. Albertson for me?
Thank you, Ms. Albertson.
Thank you.
To repent, which I have and I will, and to ask for forgiveness, and I apologize. I'm sorry I wasn't able to apologize to any of the witnesses that spoke earlier. for some reasoning that I'm not gonna say because I don't want to dare make it look like I'm trying to deflect blame because it's mine. The reasons of how this was allowed to happen, that's not who I am. It's definitely a big mistake that I made. But first, victims that you haven't heard from is not me. And I apologize. I asked my kids to forgive me, not being honest with them about where the money was spent or came from. My dishonesty with them has caused them all great emotional pain and suffering. My daughter Casey could lose her freedom because of me. It's all my fault. And my family had no knowledge of the business that I was running, or how I was running it, or whether or not I had the right to tell them how they could spend their money or use their credit cards. I controlled everything when it came to our family's finances. I can think maybe over 28 years of being married that my wife may have asked for 10 checks school-related that she would have ever signed in her finances. I took out the garbage. That was my wheelhouse. My family trusted me to do that. And I obviously didn't do it. I prepared everyone's tax returns on TurboTax without their input. Matter of fact, when my daughter Casey, after she bonded out, she said, "Dad, could you please do my taxes? I need the money because I paid bond." And I said, "Casey, I can't do it." She'd just been charged for something that was my fault that I did on her taxes. They were victims of my deceit just like anybody else. I hope they can forgive me. Second, I asked my wife, 28 years, to forgive me. I understand why she wants to end our marriage. I don't blame her. I violated her trust more than once, and I lied to her. I know this has caused her embarrassment and a lot of heartache and hatred being funneled towards her. I was not honest with her about the money, the credit cards, or her taxes, which I did. I'm sorry that I caused her so much pain and embarrassment, and I'm sorry. I want to apologize to the citizens of Clark County that trusted me, that voted for me, and let me be their sheriff, including everybody, some of which you heard from, that helped campaign for me. I let sin overtake me, and I violated their trust, and I'm sorry. I want to apologize to the men and women of law enforcement, fire, and EMS. I spent a lifetime as a law enforcement officer, volunteer fireman, and an EMT. I know how difficult it is to do the job. My activities have tarnished the reputation of the public safety community, and it's not fair to them. None deserve the public to look at them and worry about their integrity. My actions should not tarnish them. It's my fault. I want to apologize to my friends and colleagues that have been brought into this case because of me. I'm sorry to each and every one of you. I never asked anyone to do anything wrong. I never expected you to do anything wrong, but because of me, you have suffered. I'm sorry for this, and I apologize. I apologize to you, Judge, to the prosecutor, to the legal team, and in the end, thank them for being fair and forthright in consideration of my crimes. I do not look forward to the next 12 years, Judge, if you accept this plea, but I understand why I'll be spending time in prison, and I accept it. Finally, I ask for forgiveness. I'm a lifelong Catholic, and I understand the Lord will forgive me, and I hope each one of you can forgive me as well. Judge, I'm going to say just a short prayer, because that's what I need to do. I need to make things right. I confess to Almighty God, to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have sinned through my own thoughts and my words, and what I've done and what I've failed to do. my faults, through my most grievous faults. Therefore, I ask the Blessed Mary, Virgin, and all the saints and angels, and you, my brothers and sisters, to pray for me to the Lord my God. I'm sorry, and I hope I didn't leave anybody or anything out. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Noel.
For over 2.5 hours inside the Clark County Courthouse, 21 people came forward sharing their stories about how Jamey Noel impacted their lives. And in the end, the judge accepted his plea agreement. Monday proved to be a long time coming, not just for Jamey Noel to be held accountable for his web of deceit in Clark County, but for his victims, including Noel's own family, political peers, EMS staff who were overworked, the mayor of Charlestown, and those whose loved ones died under Noel's leadership, to tell him how much he's wronged them to his face.
That grandma, your mom, grandpa, your dad, and Leon would be very disappointed in you. Karma is coming for you, and I hope you realize how bad this upsets me. Have fun in prison because you deserve it. Yeah, that's what I want to see right there, is you crying. Finally, some reaction.
The city of Charlestown has been irreparably harmed by the corrupt business influence and acts of theft committed by Jamey Noel.
I hope today is an opportunity to close the door on his 15 minutes and get him off of our television screens and off to the Department of Corrections.
Noel gave a tearful apology.
Judge, I'm going to say just a short prayer because that's what I need to do. I need to make things right. I confess to Almighty God, to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have sinned through my own thoughts and my words, what I've done and what I've failed to do.
But Noel, weeping in court, did not sway the judge, who reluctantly accepted the plea agreement and sentenced Noel to prison for 12 years.
You failed as an uncle and a brother in all regard. You failed as a father. I would have thought that any honorable man would have accepted responsibility for their misdeeds instead of getting your daughter arrested and charged. Yet you sat silent until today.
In Clark County, Alexis Matthews, WLKY News.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the crooked tale of Jamey Noel, who is now going to spend his next 12 years, can I hear it from everybody? In jail. Yes. God, that guy was crooked. I mean, you hear stories about judges who get this king mentality. And we might have seen one actually acting out that nonsense in the judge's chambers not too long ago. That's what blows my mind. I don't want to talk about that case, but we're moving on. That was my contribution to the Jamey Noel thing that just happened this past week. That sentence hearing you just watched just happened on the 14th. So yeah, that was very fresh, very new. That just happened. I was real happy to be able to find that. I really dug around to try and get the news stories because I felt that the way things went down, since that was mainly just victim statements, we really needed some context there. So I worked real hard to try and include context. And I just decided to say, hey, let's make it kind of like my own like Wolfie edition, and use clips from news stories and stuff. I thought it was pretty fun. I enjoyed editing that up. I have another update for you guys, though. I don't know if any of you remember. I'm not sure if his name was like Nicholas Aliveridian or Nicholas. I forget what the guy was going by, but there was this guy a few years ago, and this has been going on for a couple of years now, who was caught in Scotland, and he had COVID. And they said, hey, this is a guy who's wanted in the United States. I think Interpol flagged him. And he came out of his coma or whatever he was in. And they're like, hey, you have all of the same tattoos that this person wanted in the United States has. And he's like, I never had tattoos before. Somebody must have tattooed me while I was unconscious in the hospital to make me look like this other person who I'm definitely not. Well, there's an update on that guy that just came out yesterday. We're going to watch that right now.
For more than 3 years,
This man swore he was the wildly unlucky victim in a case of mistaken identity.
I am not Nicholas Alaverdi, and I do not know how to make this clear.
He promised he was Arthur Knight, an Irish orphan whose health was failing.
I do not prefer to be called Arthur Knight. I am Arthur Knight.
Unfairly thrust into the middle of an international manhunt.
Oh, Andrea. No.
Police in the United States and the United Kingdom said this man was undoubtedly Nicholas Rossi, the international fugitive wanted on a rape charge in Utah under that name, but also known as Nicholas Alaverdian in Rhode Island. A man who investigators say faked his own death, fled the country, and created a new life in an attempt to avoid prosecution.
I don't have any doubt that it's not me.
But in a Utah courtroom today, a stunning admission.
Mr. Knight, can you also tell us other names that you've gone by previously?
Previously, I was born with the name Nicholas Alaverdian. In 1996, I would have that surname changed by my stepfather when it became Rossi, and I reverted to using it, Alaverdian, in 2008.
He still maintains his innocence, but Arthur Knight now says he is Nicholas Rossi and Nicholas Alaverdian.
I also felt a duty to honor my Armenian heritage.
Authorities initially identified him as someone other than Arthur Knight after he was hospitalized for COVID-19 in Scotland. Hospital workers reportedly noticed his distinctive tattoos included in an Interpol arrest warrant and contacted local police. But Arthur, or Nicholas, claimed those tattoos did not prove anything. Instead, he told a judge someone tattooed him while he was in a coma at that hospital in an effort, he said, to frame him. He fought his extradition at every turn.
To be accused of rape, it could happen to anyone.
Doubling and tripling down on his claims of mistaken identity, perhaps most famously in an interview with Dateline's Andrea Canning.
People say that's an act. Let me try to stand up. Let me try to stand up. Exactly. Exactly.
It was an odd moment, one that even surprised the veteran journalist.
That was probably the weirdest moment I've ever had in an interview, where he just suddenly is showing me, how unstable he is and how sick he is, and he's falling, and then his wife is saying that's a low blow, that I'm even questioning it, and he's supposedly on oxygen. It was just bizarre.
In November of 2022, a Scottish court ruled there was overwhelming evidence that the man arrested in the Glasgow hospital was the fugitive U.S. authorities were searching for.
That Mr. Knight is indeed Nicholas Rossi.
And that's how we got here.
Previously, I was born with the name Nicholas Alaverdian.
Nicholas Alaverdian, or Nicholas Rossi, or Arthur Knight, back on U.S. soil answering to rape charges in 2 Utah counties, after a second woman came forward when the case made international headlines. His identity is confirmed. His British accent is seemingly gone. But the pain of his alleged actions is far from resolved.
I think the fact that now he's facing the music is just a big deal for these women and anyone who says they've been conned by Nicholas Alaverdian.
Ellison Barber joins us now. Ellison, this is such a strange story. The guy was clearly a master of disguise. What else did he say about changing his name, his looks, and all these aliases?
So during this hearing, and it's a pretrial hearing that was related to bail, he was denied bail, by the way, in this case, but he told the court that he did it in part because he was receiving threats related to some advocacy work he'd done in Rhode Island years before. And when he was asked to name the people who were allegedly threatening them, he said he wouldn't identify them, but claimed there were 2 people who could substantiate those claims. One of the people he mentioned has already told a local Providence, Rhode Island paper, this is not true. We reached out to the other person who was named by him, and they said for now, they're not going to be commenting.
All right, Ellison Barber, so many chapters to this story. We thank you for that.
Well, that happened. And that was just this past week also. So we had 2 major updates to 2 major cases this week. That leaves us with 1 segment to go. Yeah, you know, MK. That leaves us with 1 segment to go. And that segment is with Judge Fleischer. So buckle up, grab your coffee. I think we got about an hour and 15 minutes of Fleischer. We're going to look at every day that I have from this week. I found some really interesting cases through the course of the dockets. I'm sure it's not all of the most interesting cases, but I think that these are all. You know, when I look at Fleischer's docket, I really look. He has a lot of. I don't know if educational content is the best way to put it, but there's a lot of cautionary tales, right? It's stories that are worth hearing that can apply to anybody's life. And that's kind of one of the reasons I like to watch Fleischer's docket. So not only are we going to learn some things about ourselves and our community, we're going to do it with some style with Judge Fleischer. We're going to get started right now.
Good morning, Mr. Woods. Trevion Woods. Mr. Woods, you're charged with possession of marijuana. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
May I get the cause number for this?
2533-007.
Okay. Officers observed the defendant walking in the middle of the street when a sidewalk was available next to him. And the officers asked the defendant for his Texas driver's license.
Again?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jaywalking?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again?
The officers discovered a warrant out for the defendant's arrest out of McLennan County for aggravated sexual assault of a child. And the officers detained the defendant and discovered a gun and 6 grams of marijuana.
Hold on. So what, walking while?
It was walking in the middle of the
While
street.
black again? Again, jaywalking? Where?
Let me read the office report.
It sounds like he was detained pursuant to the warrant.
But they didn't know that. I mean, it just, unless the officer knew him, I mean.
Yes, Your Honor. The DIMS just says the officer observed the defendant not walking or walking in the middle of the street.
So, dude, you gotta be careful in this life, man. You know, just do the right thing. It's not hard, man. All right, I'm gonna find no probable cause, Mr. Woods. You gotta be careful, man, you know? So is he on bond currently for the other case now as well, or no? You know what? Doesn't even matter. Just be careful in this life. You have but one life. How old are you? You're 24. What are you doing now? Working, school? Good. Get your education. The more you educate yourself, the higher you're gonna rise up in life. It correlates with money too. The higher education you got, more money you're gonna make in life, the better you are off. That's the rub. That's what you gotta do. All right? Okay, man. Hang tight for me, okay? Please. Hi.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Hi.
I am approaching on Ronald Smith.
Okay.
And so.
Oh, great.
Yes.
So I don't know why we had you not signed on. How long do you want?
Oh, just till the 30th. He's supposed to finish his anger management class on the 25th. And so if we could just do the reset to the 30th, that works for us. Okay.
He's not, he doesn't have it done, but he's gotta be here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're okay. Ms. Sexton, Mr. Smith wants to talk with you. Do you want to talk with me?
Yeah, I guess.
Hi, Mr. Smith. How are you?
I just wanted to apologize for my banter towards you this whole time.
You don't have to. I love the tenacity. I love the chutzpah, what you will, but channel that in a great way. because if you do, the sky's the limit. Really.
This would have been over and done had I just came and approached you in a correct way instead of just being angry.
You know, let me tell you a story. I got pulled over a while back. The officer came to me. He was so aggressive. Why did you run that red light? What's wrong with you? So I said, you know what? I know I stopped. I swear I stopped. But the officer came at me like crazy and I said, you know, I'm sorry. I was an idiot. Just, I'll do better next time. You know what he did? He let me go. So sometimes when you tuck your tail, you get more. You get more with honey than you do with vinegar, right? And it's always when you're with a person in power, especially with a person that has a power of arrest, you buck up to them, it's over. You're always going to lose. Just that's what you do. It's called maturity as well, you know?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck, Mr. Smith. Ready?
We have Rudy Ochoa here.
Mr. Ochoa, come up.
Council for reset.
Mr. Ochoa, you're on bond for DWI. You've not picked up a new case. You picked up an interference with the duties of public. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 11th, 2024, officers responded to a call regarding sexual assault of a juvenile at an apartment in Harris County, Texas. Officers made contact with a family member and went upstairs to detain the defendant for investigation. The defendant refused to cooperate with verbal commands, tried to take control of the situation, tried to stall officers, and stated he did not need to be detained because he did not do anything. The officer physically escorted the defendant out the front door, during which the defendant argued with other family members, refused to cooperate, and actively pulled away from the officer.
So what was the result of the investigation? What happened? Was he the suspect in sexual assault?
Your Honor, let me read the DIMS. I don't believe we have that
You know.
information.
I asked before I approached and there was nothing in the notes.
There's no other information. They
And
were just
he-
investigating the.
Did he
reported sexual-
cooperate? Obviously, when they had him in cuffs, he went and answered whatever question.
Obviously not.
He was pulling away,
They're
Your Honor.
saying,
No. After he was already, whatever they needed a question.
I asked you one thing, actually two things. You've not picked up a new case. Mr. Ochoa, I'm sorry, but I'm going to revoke your bond. Goes with you. I will keep the first bond it is. He's on bond on that first case. I'm just going to revoke the old one and I'll put it at 5,002.
Okay.
And then I guess just talk to me in a day or so if he's not able to make bond and I won't, you know.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
And then for the DWI, that I guess we're still waiting for station videos.
Okay. So he will auto-populate on tomorrow's docket.
Okay.
So if you want a different date, we can give you a different date. Or if he bonds out, which I'm assuming he's going to, they're going to give him a 7-day setting. And if he's unable to bond out, just come talk to me tomorrow and then we can work something. If he does bond out, he's going to get a 7-day setting and then let Victoria know and then you guys can have whatever date.
Okay. Thank you,
I'm not
Judge.
going to modify any of the conditions. We'll just stay as is. Okay. Okay, Mr. Elick.
Your Honor, I am approaching on Adrian Wingerter. He is in custody. Wingerter.
I used to like a band called Winger.
Winger, yeah.
Why is he still in jail?
Your Honor, he has 2 pending felonies. You know, it says 177th, and he may be in Rick court, and I think he has court tomorrow. And then his bond is 1,000 here.
He's got 2 pieces. I do here.
Right, he has 2 state jail felonies. You know, I was gonna ask for a PR bond in case he worked those cases out. tomorrow or sometime, I don't know, you know.
Problem is that if we give him a PR bond now, hey, Deputy Woods, can you bring out Mr. Wingerter, please? Alex,
Yes,
what's
sir.
the word with Wingerter?
Let me pull it up right now. Your
Are
Honor.
they putting him in Rick Court?
It looks like it has been assigned to Rick Court, Your Honor.
Okay. So it looks like they're probably gonna work some kind of diversion.
That's either a
treatment.
diversion or a deferred, maybe.
Perhaps they can work you guys
Right.
some.
Well, I told him if he does do anything to make sure they include this case. I always tell people that.
Good morning, Mr. Wingerter. Sir, you're charged with failure to identify oneself while being a fugitive from justice. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 10th, 2024, officers were dispatched to 350 East NASA Parkway in regard to a burglary alarm that went off. While checking the location, officers observed the defendant walking away from the business on the southeast side and ordered him to stop. Upon contact with the defendant advised he did not have an ID and gave the false name of Javier Vasquez, as well as a false date of birth. The officers gave the defendant an opportunity to give his real name twice, but the defendant asserted he was not lying both times. A pat down of the defendant revealed a glass pipe in his left pocket, and he was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. Subsequent to that, a fingerprint search was then conducted, which revealed the defendant's real name and showed he had an active warrant with the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
All right, Mr. Wingerter, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Planning on bonding out.
Ask for a PR bond.
Have you been given a PR bond in this case? Okay. I tell you that I think that everyone, at least one time, should be given and afforded the opportunity to do something right. And I will grant you a PR bond now. But if you take flight, if you take off and you don't come back, I'm going to be very hard pressed in the future. Do you understand? Here's the other thing, though. I'm not going to give you a PR bond so you can just run the streets and just hang out on the street. I got to know that you have somewhere to go, someone that's going to care for you. You have somewhere to sleep, not just on the side of the street. Who do you have in your life that's with you now?
My uncle, my son, I can stay with them. They also got a place I can go.
How old are you? How old are you? 26. Where's mom and dad?
I haven't talked to her while she was in jail last time I checked, and she hasn't.
She was in jail for what?
It was a charge, and she got picked up on a charge. I haven't spoken to her. My father, he works out of town, but I can stay with him too.
Where's he living?
Where's he stay? He does industrial radiology. He goes out of town, like Mexico. That's where I'm certified to work too, but I just need to get on the job. But right now he's staying in off of 249 in Fallbrook. In that area. I can catch a bus over there.
You're saying your dad lives in 249 in Fallbrook now?
My grandparents. Yeah, he stays there. My grandparents, and I can go stay there right now.
So let's do this. I've appointed Mr. Elick to represent you. I'd like to be able to verify that so that we know that you have a place to go to. And if so, I want to give you a PR bond. But like I said, I'm not giving you a PR bond so you can just run the street and create and wreak even more havoc. You have 2 open felonies now. I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on you, where you're going, what you're doing, so you don't get in trouble and so you're not using what they're alleging is being used. No dope, no alcohol, and I'm going to test you like crazy to make sure that you're not using. Do you understand? Okay, so do you mind?
I
And
can
then
step out and call.
Assuming, then I'll give them a PR bond.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think he's no bonded on his felonies right now, so that could change,
Oh.
but, so it's not like he's gonna just get out anyway.
I didn't,
You know,
okay. I guess let's do that regardless, if you don't mind, Mr. Ehrlich. Let's
Sure,
see if
I'll-
he has a place to go to, and,
we approach one side.
okay, this is not a good way to go through, man. You're 26. You want to follow in mom's footsteps? That's not a good role model, man. This is not a good way to go. You're starting your life now. You have one felony dismissed. You now have another 2 felonies. Life doesn't get easier. It gets harder. The more felonies you rack up, you think you can make life easier for you? Come on, man.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to call anybody right now. I'm not getting on the bus and go straight to my grandparents. I don't have their numbers, but I know, I mean, if I was PR bonded, I know I could go straight to.
What about your grandmother? You gave me her number.
I could call her, but she's not in town.
Give him something so that we have something to work with. We're not just going to throw you out, and we did that 2 times before. Look, you don't have to say anything. We just don't want you to floating on the street doing nothing. That's it. All right.
I'll reapproach, Your Honor.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, Judge, page 6,
Let's
Dela
roll.
Cruz, come on up.
Who's here on the walkthrough? You said a lawyer was here?
JL.
They're coming back.
Okay. So Maria de la Cruz, good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, you were charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or $2,000 fine. You're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On September 8th, 2024, an officer was dispatched to a target in Harris County, Texas regarding a theft. Upon arrival, the officer met with the complainant, the loss prevention manager, who advised the defendant had stolen from the business. The complainant advised that the defendant had entered the business with no merchandise and with a small pink fanny pack on her person. The defendant was then observed going to the style department and began making selections at the merchandise and then began going into the business fitting room. The defendant exited the fitting room and the style merchandise was not seen, and the defendant dumped the merchandise on the rack in the fitting room. The defendant was then observed going to the jewelry department, and the complainant advised that the defendant was observed quickly selecting Kendra Scott jewelry, and the defendant went to the beauty department and was advised that she began selecting Kendra Scott jewelry and hair care department merchandise. And the defendant then went to the home department and then the chemical aisle and began concealing merchandise into the small pink fanny pack and began walking towards the front of the store. The defendant passed all points of sale without rendering payment for the items, and the total amount taken was approximately, or was $103.92.
And where did you say this is from?
At Target.
Got it. Okay. Ms. De La Cruz, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. How old are you, ma'am?
19.
What do you do for a living?
I go to school,
Where do you go to school?
Chemo Medical Institute.
Okay. Are you working as well?
Not currently.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
Are they here today with you? Okay. Like I said, I'm going to find probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to go to any Target stores whatsoever. You were given a free bond, so we let you out of jail. And that's how you're here before me. You're not going to get another one. If you pick up a new case, if you go to any Target or do something you're not supposed to, I will revoke the bond, put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds, and it's going to go way higher than it is now. Do you understand? Did you want to apply for a court-appointed lawyer, man? Okay, we will give you an application. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions up, okay? First, we're going to have you sign a reset, and then we need to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I need to know everything about you, and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Please. State, nope. Anytime someone is monitored, like a DWI or an assault where we're going to monitor with a GPS, then they would go to you. Here, just please, no going to any Target.
Chavez. Page 11.
Good morning, Mr. Javed.
Good morning.
Sir, you're charged with terroristic threat or a family or a household member. That allegation kicks it up to a Class A misdemeanor, so you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 8th, 2024, in Harris County, Texas, an officer was dispatched to meet with a firefighter at 3515, a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officer met with the complainant, who stated she got into an argument with her husband, the defendant. The complainant stated the defendant had been threatening to kill the complainant's family in Pakistan and to kill her in the past. In 2023, she called the police, but no report was made because she was afraid of retaliation. The complainant stated they have talked about who the defendant knows in Pakistan and believed the defendant could do something to her family to have them killed. The complainant stated the defendant made these threats to her and her family to control her. When the complainant called for police on October 8th, the defendant told the complainant if she called the police, the complainant knew the consequences, while making a circle in his hands, gesturing as if to strangle the complainant.
So there's also felony retaliation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this within what you just said now, or is it something else that happened? Because I know it arises out of the same, but was there any more overt action that was done other than spoken word?
Sorry, Your Honor, let me check the DIMS.
Okay. Mr. Javed, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Tell me, are you a United States citizen?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
sir.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this complaining witness. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm entering in, or it looks like a protective order has already been issued on the 9th of this month. I would get to know it. If you do something to violate this protective order, the state can and will file additional charges as violation of protective order. And I'm telling you, that's one of the worst cases you can pick up. You violate conditions on a no contact order, I can hold you at zero bond. And I will do it in a second to protect every person of Harris County. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When I mean no contact, I mean no contact of any kind. Phone calls, text messages, social media, use of another person to relay any information. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of weapons. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you violate these conditions, I will revoke your bond. I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. And I'm telling you now, I'm going to make it high. So no contact of any kind.
Your Honor, appears to be just the verbal threats.
Okay. So can you file no contact and no weapons, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
For now, I'm going to have you sign a reset with Victoria. After that, we'll have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign the bond conditions, and then we'll have you wait for your lawyer. Okay? Please.
Again, on Rudy Ochoa,
Okay,
he was able to bond out. They let him out this morning. He's here in court.
you mind bringing him up?
I'm sorry?
Do you mind bringing him up, please?
Yes.
How was jail? Good. You pick up another case, you violate conditions. Next time it'll be doubled, tripled, maybe quadrupled, depending on what happens. I'm not asking much from you. I'm asking you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs and obey the law. And if you become a danger to society, there's only one place. Do you understand?
Sir.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not asking you to split the atom here. Just be nice. It's not hard. So bond condition will, so this is Ochoa Lacani.
Yes, Judge.
I'm letting pre-trial know. So he's in the jail docket? Yes, page 29, guys. No drugs, no alcohol, random urinalysis. Alex, can you run his license to see if it's eligible or not?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whatever happened with the investigation that they were doing, do you know? With the interference?
I checked them, they didn't file anything, nothing new has been filed.
Alex, do we know anything about the investigation? Do we know any other further charges that are potentially going to be filed?
I don't see anything about the sexual assault investigation, so, and also his license is, I apologize, it just closed out, not eligible.
I'm ordering you now not to drive. Your license has been suspended, probably due to the administrative license revocation hearing. So I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today, Mr. Ochoa. You're not allowed to drive. Do you understand? We had them check in the system now with DPS to see if it's eligible or not eligible. And it is not eligible.
And Your Honor, you are correct, it's the ALR suspension.
Do you understand? So if you drove here, you may not drive home. You got to find somewhere else, someone else. Do you understand? You violate these conditions. Like I said, you're going to be signing an affidavit. This is a promise you're making to me not to drive. And I'm telling you, there's no better way to see me really get upset than to drive when there's a no driving affidavit. Do you understand? It is your responsibility to get with DPS to try to figure out how to get your license back. And if you do, and you get liability insurance, I'll take this off. But until that point, don't drive. So I will have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. We will have you sign a reset. After that, you'll pre-chop for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Okay?
Judge, if I may, he is here this morning on the DWI. The interfering is set for Friday. Is there any way we can handle both of those today?
Have you come multiple days?
Okay.
Kidding, of course.
I was like, thank you, Judge. So
Yes.
are there gonna be different conditions for that or the same
No,
conditions?
it'll be all in one. That's why I was in the interference. I was wanting to see if there's a complaining witness to forbid him to have contact with, but it looks like the interference is just with an officer. So I'm not going to put any conditions on that one. Everything, it just rides on the DWI. So you know what's expected of you. You're skirting thin ice. Be careful. That ice breaks. Okay, that way.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, take care.
Judge, can you do the PC form for the interference?
Oh, I didn't do it? Really? Okay.
Good morning, Judge. Again, on Javid, we've gotten in touch with the complaining witness on this case. And
Hello, I'm ADA Colada. I'm filling in for Conrad.
Come up. Come up. Yes. Ms. Turner, I truly appreciate your tenacity. I really do. But the allegations to me are serious. And guys, keep it down, please. And I don't know if I'm ready because I don't want something to happen. It's too soon. It's too fresh. I don't want something bad to happen.
is it possible for us to keep the address restriction and just do no threatening and harassing?
That's what I mean. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That's what,
Because they have no contact at all if we do no threatening and harassing. They can still
don't
communicate,
have
but they,
contact. That's the point, is I don't want you to have contact with her. The allegations are serious. You allegedly threatened to choke, you allegedly threatened to kill the family, do it overseas, and it's in a repeated fashion.
she said today that that wasn't true.
That's
I don't
not what
know
I was
that.
told on the recall. Sorry,
Okay,
that's not what I
okay.
was told on the recall. She said that those statements were prior incidences where he had made those comments, and that the incident in question where he made the threat, the consequences of calling the police, she's claiming that he never made the gesture, but I don't have the body cams to watch it to see if that's actually what was said, which is why we're holding off on making a decision.
So what is your position? Your position is to keep no contact?
My position is no threatening or harassing. Based off of the complaint, it was very clear that she doesn't want the restrictions. And I think that they will contact each other anyway. So rather than setting the defendant up to violate his bond
No,
conditions.
no. There's no setting anyone up. We're clear what the consequence is if you try to have contact with her. I don't want you to have contact her for the time being now. I want you to appreciate the fact that you're not to have contact with her, and I'm warning you, don't do it. There will be severe consequence if you try to have any contact with her, if you try to use anyone to relay any kind of messages. If I deem you a public danger, Mr. Javed, I'm telling you now, I'm going to revoke your bond and I'm going to make it very high. Perhaps in time, yes, but the allegations are there. I find them disturbing and I don't want you to have contact with her. I know that your lawyer has really worked hard for it, so don't blame her. It has nothing to do with her. It's all to do with me. And I'm ordering you now not to have any contact with her. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Don't blame her. If you want to blame anyone, you blame me. But for the time being, no means no. It doesn't mean maybe. It doesn't mean I've got kids. It doesn't mean I've got to get my car payment. It doesn't mean I got to get my house done. None of that makes a difference to me. My only concern is public safety. That's it. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm not ready yet. The allegations to me are very troubling. And I get the fact that people try to either renounce, mitigate, recant, but I'm not ready yet. I'm just not. In time, perhaps, because, I'm always willing in time to, modify. It's just too soon for right now.
Okay.
Are there any kids in the relationship now? Good, wonderful. So there's just no reason for you to have contact with this person for now. There's no reason. Don't. Time heals all wounds and perhaps we can change it, but for the time being, no contact. Come back in a couple weeks and then we can redo it. And then I want you also to give you guys sufficient time to do a full rip, take time to do it the right way, not in a rush when you've got other, a gajillion things going on as well. And I appreciate you really coming down to help out as well, okay?
Problem, and I'll make a
So-
note for Conrad to have a more in-depth discussion. but-
The other thing is I'd like to talk to her as well, before, because I'd like to talk to her to tell her that, the ramifications, not to ever feel any type of fear. No one, absolutely no one should have to live in fear like that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't, imagine having to walk on eggshells because of the fear that if you make someone mad, they're going to explode. No one should have to live like that. So, and I'd like to impart that, that's it. All right, so Mr. Turner, whatever reset you want, if you want to do a week, 2 weeks, whatever you'd like to do, I'm okay. I'm just not ready. And understand that just, I bet, best probably not the same. Okay, all right, thanks. All right,
I'm making that note for Conrad now.
thank you.
I believe you
Danielle,
got
you
together,
ready?
Judge. Thank you for the courtesy. I appreciate it. This is,
Hanging out with our
I love the decorations.
do you want to bring up your client?
Mr. Lopez. And you should have a report, Judge.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. One more, Your
On September 6, 2024, officers were dispatched to an assault at a residence in Harris County, Texas. Officers made contact with the complainant. The complainant was picking up a DoorDash order, returned to her vehicle, and removed an empty cup and placed it on the floor in the parking lot. The complainant stated that the defendant grabbed the cup, threw it back inside the vehicle, and the complainant placed the cup outside the vehicle once more, and the defendant grabbed the cup, placed the rock inside, and the defendant threw the cup with the rock at her, striking the left side of her face, causing pain. The complainant stated the defendant grabbed her windshield wiper and the two engaged in a verbal altercation. The complainant states the defendant grabbed a handgun from his vehicle, held it by his waistband, but did not point it at the complainant. The complainant stated that the complainant stated to the defendant that she was enrolled in a police academy, was calling 911, and that's when the defendant left the scene.
Okay. Mr. Lopez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this person and not to be in possession of weapons. If you violate these conditions, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. You understand?
Yes, sir.
See that there's no bond set now.
Correct.
You guys want to do?
It's just a misdemeanor, Judge. We're looking at 500 to 1,000.
Okay. What do you think?
We're gonna post to 1,000.
Okay. We'll set it at 1,000. Do you have any open cases now? Are there any open cases now? All right, I will give you a PR bond now, but I'm going to tell you, Mr. Lopez, this is it. I'm not going to give you another one. You violate conditions, do something you're not supposed to. I'm going to do everything in my power to protect the public in every single manner, however I can. So beware that we have eyes on you now. Any false move, we're just going to put you in jail. You understand? You know, you're lucky. One false move with that gun, because it's very tempting. You could be hit with a second-degree felony. God forbid someone else didn't have a gun. I was reading a report yesterday or a couple of days ago where same kind of deal, two people getting at it, one blew the other away, dead. You never know who's on the other end of that argument and whether they have a gun or not. Got to be careful. Life's way too short for this. For now, I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria. We'll get you with pre-trial for your bond and your paperwork, and then we'll have you sign your bond conditions, and then you'll be on your way. You have a lawyer, so we will waive your appearance, but it's your responsibility to stay in touch with JL, and she'll tell you when you have to come back to court. If she tells me she can't get a hold of you because you're gone or you're ducking and dodging phone calls, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. Pick up a new case, violate conditions, same thing. Do you have any questions? Just be nice. It's not hard, you know? All right, guys, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Jan.
May I be excused?
Yes,
Judge, did you set the bond?
1,000. Granted a PR bond, and then no contact and no weapons. So if you can file that, please.
Okay, how?
I have Carol Ramirez. We're set for an update today. She does have her ankle monitor on. She's registered with IOP. She has orientation tomorrow and she starts Saturday.
Okay. Was there anything else that was supposed to happen?
I'm sorry?
She was supposed to be finished with SOP and now registering and for IOP, right? Wasn't that?
No, she had to start. It's IOP first and then SOP. So she has to do IOP.
Weeks ago.
No. We were here
It was not
too long ago. I can pull her up, Judge. Do you have Carol Ramirez? Oh, never mind.
I'll pull her up.
If you get there before me. I'm pulling her up, Judge. She's the one, Judge. I don't know if you remember
No,
that.
I remember everything. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have here on 9/13, this is when we amended the agreement to do the 3 days and then scram upon release and do IOP and SOP. That was 9/13.
Yes, and you told her by the time she comes back, she has to be registered, which she is. She has orientation on Thursday and she's starting on Saturday. That's what I have.
Shatori, we're talking about Carol Ramirez.
Talk to her. She had a visit with her officer, and at that point, she wasn't registered. She just sent me over the company she registered with. So I'm gonna call them. And just
She's still pushing it. Still pushing it. I mean,
she goes on Thursday.
same thing. It's over and over. It's come up, Miss Ramirez. I don't understand why you are still pushing your luck. You were supposed to register immediately upon doing the 3 days as a condition. When did she do the 3 days, please?
September September 20th is when she went in. And that Monday, I think it reinstated her, Judge.
Yes, Judge, it was September 20th.
She was released on when, the 21st?
The 23rd. 23rd is when she was released.
Released the 23rd. She was supposed to register immediately, starting the IOP. And what day did she register?
Yesterday.
Says her probation officer told her she had a month.
I told you here what you were supposed to do. I'm tired of playing this game, Andrea.
At least
I'm
she's
tired of
registered.
playing. It's like, you know, when this is what happens when you're too nice. It's over and over. People take advantage of you like crazy. It took 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks for her to sign up for IOP, Andrea. 4 weeks.
Can you, since she's already registered?
No, I mean, I'm done with this. I'm just, what?
Let her see if she goes, if she attends. I don't have there's not much that I can say. I don't have much to stand on,
She
but
doesn't take us seriously.
I'm hoping that you will allow, since she's already registered, you'll allow
Let's
her,
do this. Let's do this.
because she has an ankle monitor on. That's on. It's
I'm
on.
gonna send her for a drug test right now. I want to see what if anything that she's gonna test positive for. And then right now, I want to send her for a test. And then I guess we'll talk when she comes back, because first things first, I want to know if she's clean. If she's not clean, it's over. That's it. But if she's clean, then we'll talk about how we go further.
They
But,
send her back here.
uh,
How long, so I know how to manage everything else. that
I have your cell phone, right?
Yes.
I'll text you when she comes back.
Okay.
And I don't know. Just take a seat for me a minute.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks, Andrew.
Go to Ms. Ramirez.
Absolutely.
The state position is that we follow the recommendation of the probation department. Either feels A, she's reached a point to where they can no longer help her and she needs that higher level of care than the probation department can give her. Or B, if the probation department feels that they can still treat her, we follow the recommendation of the probation department. B being Texas.
And they requested a 6-month extension, but her last been under 7 months.
But Judge, if she registered for the classes, there will be completed in 6 months.
I'm not doing a 6-month reset for her to do one class a
We
week.
can bring her to court. We can bring her to court for status updates. I'm 100% on board with that. I think that that's actually a very good idea. But what I'm saying is that the probation department feels that she could be helped with the IOP and SOP. That's my understanding. Please correct me if I'm saying something wrong. My understanding is that probation department feels that they could help her with the IOP SOP. I think that to her defense, nobody told her she needs to register, at least as far as I'm aware, 2 to 3 times a week. So
I told her last time we were here.
now when we approached, because I was with her, Judge.
I told
No,
her.
I was with her and I don't remember you saying that.
I told her what you need to have done, and then this is what you register for. When you come back, this is what we're gonna end up doing. Regardless, look, regardless.
What I'm saying is, since the probation department feels that they can help her, if she can register to one of the 3, and I'm gonna bring her up here with, if you decide to allow her to continue, I'm gonna bring her up here and we all talk, so everybody's on the same page. If she does it within like a week, not a month like we did last time.
I'm not ever going to reset her for over 2 weeks at a time,
And that's
because I
fine.
can't trust anything to happen.
And that's fine.
And Mr. Lindsay, unfortunately, the way it works is that it's unfortunately, like a little child. They push and they push and they push. And it's truly, it's childish, because they push and they push to see how much they can get away with. And as evidenced here, you sign up the day before court.
This is all predicated on if the court does not rescind its order for supervision.
What I'm gonna do now is I'm going to reset her for 1 week. She has 1 week to sign up for the 3-time-a-week course. She needs to come back, show us that she's done that. And then after that, I'm going to set her off 2 weeks. Every single 2
Can I bring her up
weeks.
here? So
Sure.
I want her to be part of the conversation, so if she comes back and she doesn't do, so nobody can, so there's no possibility of saying.
I'm so over this, it's just ridiculous. Come up, Ms. Ramirez. So I will indefinitely set this case off 2 weeks at a time to make sure that it gets done. Because I can't do 4-week resets anymore, unfortunately. So we are now going to have to micromanage just. I don't think that this is right. And I don't think that this is fair because it really spits in the face of every single person who does a good job with this program. And what you're doing now is not what this program is designed to do. And it really violates the spirit because this is a program that's supposed to teach you right and wrong, teach you how to act in the free world. And you've done everything against that. I mean, for you to sign up for the class 1 day before court, it's just, it hurts. And it's shameful. Because when I told you, last time you were here, I told you that I wanted you to sign up immediately after you were done. And you sat there and you waited. Not 1 week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Oh, person's come back.
So now you've shown me that I can't do long resets on your case. So if you fail one more time, if you ever fail to attend a meeting, if you ever fail to whatever you need to do, you will be out of this program. I will not do this again, and I will immediately set your case for trial. You have 1 week to sign up for the class that's 3 times a week. And thereafter, you will get 2-week resets every single time to show me that you have attended this class 3 times a week. If you fail to go one of those times in a week, because it's the class is designed for you to go 3 times a week, every week. And if you fail to do that, that's it. Do you understand?
Judge, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Judge is asking you to go back to that list that you have and find a place that offers the program 3 times, IOP 3 times a week. What are the requirements? Is SOP once a week or, okay.
She has to complete IOP.
Right, so you have to go back to the list, find a place to register for IOP that does it, that meets 3 times a week. You do IOP, and once you're done with IOP, you find SOP that meets once a week. And you have to have, right, and you have to be registered in the IOP that meets 3 times a week by next court setting, which will be in about a week.
Not about, exactly a week.
Okay,
from
do I
today.
have it
Next
correct?
Wednesday.
Do I have it correct, Judge? Right, okay, so do you understand that?
Yes.
There's not gonna be another chance. Okay.
State has nothing further, Judge, for the court.
See you in a week.
Thank you, Judge.
Next is page 16, Morelli, come on up.
Very familiar to me. You know how? maybe not. I represented a Morelli once, or a Morgan Morelli, actually with the same name. That's why. Okay. Ms. Morelli, you were charged with assault of a family member. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, man. Okay.
The officer spoke with the complainant, who is the defendant's mother, and who also. I apologize. Do you want me to keep going?
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. No problem. The officer spoke with the complainant, who is the defendant's mother, and was observed to be bleeding from her mouth and face. The complainant stated the defendant physically attacked her in the defendant's kitchen after a verbal argument about the complainant calling out the defendant for taking drugs. The complainant stated the defendant was beating the living hell out of me. The complainant stated she doesn't know exactly how many times the defendant struck her, so the defendant hit her numerous times with both hands and that she felt pain. The complainant stated they both had been drinking and had a couple margaritas, but that it was not the reason for the assault. The complainant stated she ran out of the defendant's house and back to her home, which is only a few houses down the street, to call for help. The complainant stated the defendant has a history of assaulting her.
There's a prior assault of a family member. Is that the same complaining witness? Let's see.
It is, Your Honor.
I have something interesting here. There's a joint. You see what was filed? A joint attorney of record. Can you appoint, or can you put two attorney of records? Really? Okay. Second assault of a family member against the same person. Ma'am, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case, and I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to do everything in my power to protect every single person of this county, and if that means putting you in jail, I'm going to do it in a heartbeat. Do you understand? I'm sending you now for a drug test. I want to know what, if anything, is in your system, then you're to come right back. If you fail to come back, or if you fail to take the drug test, I will revoke your bond, and I'm going to tell you now, you will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
As a condition of your bond, I'm forbidding you from having any contact with Diana Morelli whatsoever, not to consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to test you like crazy to make sure that you're not using. I'm also ordering you not to be in possession of weapons as well. I'm ordering you not to have contact with her. Can you find mom, please? Diana Morelli, please. Has a motive been granted in this case? Okay.
I just put it ready for you.
Okay. So, guys, it looks like the CW is here, so.
Judge, I have all spoken with CW, and she says that her and her daughter have fixed the situation between.
It doesn't, no, it's a second assault. Every time I had, no. Doesn't matter.
Just go confirm with the CW.
Yeah, and well, I'm gonna bring her in so that I can talk to her as well. Are you Miss Morelli? Hi, thank you so much for coming. Would you mind coming up, please? I told her that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect every single person of Harris County, no matter who it is, who they are, what is going on. And that I would, and if that means putting them in jail and making it $100,000 bond, I will do it in a heartbeat. I'm entering now what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection that identifies you as a protected individual. Ms. Morelli, you cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is a stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon or go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works. Do you understand? This is a second assault alleged against you. The first one was dismissed. However, now I'm forbidding her from having contact with you. I've also forbidden her from consuming alcohol or illegal drugs. And I'm sending her now for a drug test because I want to know what, if anything, is in her system. I'm so much as even contemplating putting a device on her ankle so I know that she's not consuming any alcohol. She has a lot of prior violent behavior, you know, and I'm going to do everything in my power to quell it. This is the fifth, violent type of case that we have. And that's it. Historically speaking, every 2 years, there's a new case. Since 2018. Stops now. Do you understand? Okay.
Am I allowed to say anything?
Well, I'd rather not. She has a lawyer, you guys can talk to the lawyer. I've got a bunch of DAs here and everything that you guys say can be used. And now's not the best time to talk about the case. The only thing I want to know, impart to you that you are now a protected individual, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it stays like that so no one else puts their hands on you.
It's almost impossible for us to be able to follow because I'm driving her back and forth to work and the 5 houses down.
Let's do this. I'm going to have her talk to the lawyer, and then we'll figure out something to do. Well, we'll talk. For now, what I want to do is I'm going to send her for a drug test because I want to know what, if anything, is in her system. And then we'll have her come back, and hopefully by then the lawyers will be here and then we can talk. Okay? So just don't leave for now. Okay? All right. I'm going to have you sign this order for protection now, and then we'll send you on your way, and then we'll see you back in half an hour. Okay? In the interim, you can.
I'll speak to her. Miss Morelli.
Okay.
May I approach?
Yeah.
Spoke to Mr. Early Judge, and with the permission of the court, it's okay. She'd like to submit to the UAs twice a
Okay,
week.
so she has to come here every Monday and Thursday. She'll report here.
Yeah.
She'll have to take a drug and alcohol test every, and we'll reset her. So the way we'll do it with you is we'll give you a date, 30 days out. That'll be your date. But what we'll have to do resets every Monday and Thursday for her to come and test, and then she'll come here, she'll test, and then she can go out, and we'll have her sign a reset.
Yes, sir. Just 2 other points, Judge. This address is it's not the correct address, essentially, Judge. But I'm assuming since the court is allowing contact, that would be.
Passingham Drive?
Was that?
Passingham?
It's the same street, but it's a different number, is my understanding, Judge.
Of where mom lives?
Yes, Judge, but I'm assuming since the court is going to allow contact, is she allowed to be at the
So
house,
what
Judge?
we'll do is we'll do no threatening or harassing,
Okay.
and then the MOA stays in place, all but for the residential restriction. So we'll take the residential restriction out, but everything else stays in.
Let's see, okay.
Ms. Morelli, come up.
The last condition, Judge, if I could, it asks Ms. Morelli to contact pretrial to determine the case status. She has counsel, Judge, so can we remove that, right?
I've never
That
seen
condition?
that, actually. You'll have to show me that, where usually it's something where it's random testing. Why?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm gonna take that off. I don't see why. Thank you for bringing it. I've never seen that before.
I never seen either.
It was through the magistrate, so we'll take it off. Ms. Morelli, I'm going to have you sign conditions now that you are not.
Order in the court.
You are not to have any threatening or harassing contact with your mother. What is threatening or harassing doesn't matter what you think is threatening. It's what she perceives. So if you buck up and go like this, is that threatening or harassing? It is. Spoken word you know, it doesn't have to be spoken word. Other conduct can violate this court order. If you violate this, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. If I find that you're consuming alcohol, and I don't care what it is, I don't care what the source is, isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, a tequila lollipop, hair dye, NyQuil, I've heard it all, and it doesn't matter to me. With no means no. And will take copious notes that I've warned you about everything, including mouthwash, Listerine, whatever it may be. If you test positive, the bond gets revoked, you go to jail. And from now on, if you test positive, I'm telling you now, I'm going to put an ankle monitor on you that tests for alcohol. And that thing costs around $400 to $500 a month. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So everything in this order for protection will stay. The only thing that we're taking off is the residential restriction. So before you leave here, I would suggest that you get to know this thing so you know what you can and can't do. Do you have any questions?
I can contact her just and be around her, just nothing harassing or threatening.
No threatening, harassing, no alcohol from any source, no illegal
Okay.
drugs. Correct. You have a lawyer. They will take care of you. It's your responsibility to stay in touch with them. If they tell me they can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. You will not get any more PR bonds if you pick up a new case, you start acting out, anything like that. Any questions?
Just Monday and Thursday to be.
You will report here at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll send you the test. And then after that, you'll be go. And then you can go. If we find something we shouldn't, we'll get in contact with both of you guys. Okay? If you don't show up, a warrant will issue.
Is there a time frame that it matters for those days?
9 o'clock here in the morning. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
We
All right,
excuse,
guys.
Judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just choose the role for the spreadsheet.
Myers, come on up.
Javante Myers-Kearney. Mr. Myers-Kearney, you're charged with criminal mischief. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, sir. On October 10th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to an assault in progress in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the complainant. The complainant stated the defendant, her ex-boyfriend, damaged her motor vehicle. The complainant stated she was in an argument with 3 different girls through text, and the defendant did not like that and got very upset. The complainant stated she asked the defendant to go outside to her car to grab some diapers, and the defendant started damaging the motor vehicle due to the motor vehicle not being unlocked. The complainant stated the defendant was smashing the windshield and kicking the doors. The damage was estimated to be approximately $1,000. The officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated the complainant doesn't need to press charges as they have a child together and that he is willing to pay for all the damages.
2019, burglar of a motor vehicle. 2022, evading arrest. 22, unlawful carrying of a weapon. 24, ag assault, possession of marijuana. I'm talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Possession of marijuana, another ag assault, another evading arrest, possession of a substance in a possession of a prohibited substance in a correctional facility, a fugitive case, and now a criminal mischief. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, now 10. How old are you, Mr. Javante Myers-Kearney?
23.
10 cases and you're 23 years old. I'm sending you for a drug test right now because I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. You must come right back after that drug test. If you fail to go to the drug test, if you fail to come back, I'm going to make your bond so high. Do you understand? You are not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case, not to be in possession of any weapons, or go within 500 feet of.
Your Honor, just so the court's aware, he's currently on probation at Lumpkin County as well
What?
for engaging in organized criminal activity.
What else does he have at accounting,
Kennedy?
Steph?
His history right now, Your Honor. Judge, it looks like he had some juvenile history out of Fort Bend for theft.
So that's how much, okay, so there's 11, 12 for the engaging case. What else?
That looks like it for the actual file cases, Judge.
Yes, well, because there was also a theft of a firearm in Angleton as well as
13,
a theft of a firearm out of Galveston.
14, 23 years old and 14 cases. You're on probation for a third-degree felony, and now you've picked up a criminal mischief. I'm going to put an ankle monitor, and I'm giving you a curfew of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I'm going to have you come here twice a week to prove to me that you're not consuming alcohol or illegal substances. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
One false move, holy moly. So let's send him for a drug test right now, and then. Mr. Myers-Kearney, do you know how hard this life is without money? Do you have any clue?
Sir.
Don't, because you have no clue. You don't care about your future, but just wait. You've got 14 cases on your background now. All you're doing, you're making your life impossible to live for the next 30 years of your life. Because when people see this, what do you think they're thinking? Do you have a job now?
Yes, sir. I work for my phone. It's just temporary job though. Just
doing what?
I answer dealing with the voting right now. People that doing the voting. I just answer the call, see if they voting. Answer a couple questions that's on my little list. I ask them a couple questions that's on my list.
You're working for?
It's just my brother girlfriend. Her name Ebony. She worked at this it's called. I can bring all the paperwork. I can show everything about it. I just forgot the name of it. But I worked through her. This is a temp job for her. Like I basically her assistant, just answering her phone, by people that's voting, writing their name down, stuff, giving the information to her so she can file it. And I can bring all the information for you though, just to verify and show you what I actually do. And I actually had a job working as a temp for Danny's group. If you ever knew, that was at Igloo out there, Katy. Igloo, just work at that company.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, sir. I got my GED though. I'm working to get my GED right now. On my
No. I asked you if you graduated from high school. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Did you get your GED?
We're getting it out. I'm in the process of it right now.
We are going to work on that together right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set your case off, and I want you to show me what you have done to get your GED. I'm making that a condition of your bond that you get your GED. And if you don't do anything, it's not going to go well between you and I. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, if we can send them now for a test, you're to come right back. Take a seat for me. What's the last name?
Williams on page 19 and 20. Judge, Victoria said something. We had him scheduled for a TRS, but he wanted out before he could do it in custody. And they were PR bond.
No, I'm not done with continue to give you PR bonds and you fail to appear. No, it doesn't work like that. We give you a PR bond, you don't show up. We give you a PR bond, you pick up a new case. You know, it's over and over and over. I mean, when do we say when, Mr. Williams?
No, I got into a program, I got into rehab, I got off, I was homeless, I'm from South Carolina. And I got into a program.
We're up to 3 cases. We're up to 3 different times you don't appear. I mean, when do we say when?
They threw my paperwork and all this type of stuff away. I didn't know nothing about this.
Oh, they give you paperwork when you leave the jail.
They held my property, sir. And I came up here to get my property over like 10 times and they sent me to another HPD or something.
Always someone else's fault. Always someone else's fault.
I went back and forth, sir. And that's why I got off on that area and got into a program like I told them I was going to do. And now I stayed up here so I could come up here and see what's going to go down with this right here because I'm going back home.
What rehab are you trying?
Gifted Souls in Pearland.
You just give me a piece of paper.
I've been in there a whole week. I didn't want to just walk up to you and give it to you,
But this isn't a paper. This is just information about the program.
Yes, sir. I've been in a whole week.
So let's do this. Take a seat for me in the jury box. I'm gonna get a hold of your lawyer. Because
I don't have a lawyer.
Yes, you do. We appointed you a lawyer. You have a lawyer, Mr. Brooker. So I don't want to do anything until we talk with your lawyer to figure out where we're gonna go. But so just take a seat for me in the jury box. I'm gonna get a hold of your lawyer. We'll see how we go forward.
Yes, second judge.
For you, anything.
Judge, I figured you want an update on Kenneth Williams. Do you recall we met on him? Looks like it was back on the 27th. Due to his failure to appear on one case, his bond was revoked. He went into custody. He bonded out. I wanted to just kind of share with you what's been going on since then with him.
Okay.
So Judge, firstly, Mr. Williams has been staying at a place called Gifted Souls. It appears to be a mental health treatment facility. They helped him to get here today, so on and so forth. He does not have a phone as of today, but he intends to get one today, is my understanding. That will keep us in better communication. So originally I was appointed on, I believe, 2 cases, and then there was a third somehow. So I ultimately got on that case too. Spoke with the state. There's still some discovery outstanding. Even the offense report, strange because it's HPD, so we don't have that either. So they're unable to make a rec or anything at this time. I'm comfortable with him on bond, Judge, based on what he shared with me, that he is being treated by these folks. And I wanted to just get him out of the jury box so we can prepare his defense and move on from there. But last time you had some concerns, so I just wanted to make sure that we talked.
We let him out, he picks up cases, and then he doesn't show up. I mean, he's here today, but I guess we should be thankful for that. But I mean, it's just, how do I know he's doing what he's doing? You know?
He said he would, and he did.
What I'd like to do is I want to send him for a drug test to know if he's clean. And then, if he's clean, we'll continue bond. If he's not, then figure out where to go.
Well, what I do know is that he was treated for, apparently sustained some injuries while in jail, bad injuries. Went to Methodist. So I would imagine anything that you would find would be something that would be prescribed.
Come up, Mr. Wiggins. They're not going to do a prescription for cocaine or meth, though.
Understood. Yeah,
Right?
sir. And just also to share with you.
Yes, sir.
This appears to be a mental health treatment and addiction therapy facility where he's staying now.
It's a card.
Just for knowledge for you.
Ultimately, that's a card.
Yeah.
There's no proof of admittance. You could be pulling the wool over my eyes. I have no idea, Mr. Williams. All I know is that you've got 3 open cases and you continually fail to appear. Yet they see fit to continue to give you PR bonds. It's not going to happen again. If you fail to appear on me again, even if they give you a PR bond, I'm going to put you right back in.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
You're not to use alcohol, you're not to use illegal drugs, and I'm sending you now for a drug test because I want to know what, if anything, is in your system.
Yes, sir.
You know, you're not allowed to use anything. If you have a valid prescription, okay, but there's no valid prescription for meth, cocaine, psilocybin, you know, PCP. There's no valid prescription for any of that. And I'm telling you not to drink alcohol as well. If I find that you're using any of that, I'm going to put you in. I'm not giving you another PR bond. So how do I know that you're in this actual facility? That's a card. You can get that on the bathroom wall. How do I know that that you're actually there?
Sir, but we can call them right now. I just don't have the phone, sir.
And Judge, I'll do the footwork on that. That's something that we've taken upon ourselves to verify, but based on what Mr. Williams has shared with me, I feel comfortable with what he shared with me today is true. He intends to get a phone today, so that would allow me to keep better tabs on him and keep him better advised as to what's going on with this case. But right now, the state doesn't have all of the evidence.
So this, I'm not waiving his appearance anymore. He's got to appear here from now on. Okay. How long till you get everything? The case is just too much drama. It's time to put it to bed.
Judge, it looks like everything's been requested. We can, I'll follow up with my admin and see where we are.
It's weird. It's an HBD case from
I know they
September.
did.
It should be in.
That's what defense and I were saying at the table.
HBD uploads their stuff immediately. There's no excuse as to why.
Actually, Judge, to do it the same day.
That's for Williams, right?
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to send him. So pick a day next week. We'll have him come back. I want you to bring me proof that you're actually in this facility. I don't want just a piece of paper. I want proof that you've actually been admitted and that you're staying there because I don't want you out on the street. That's what I've told you since the beginning. I don't want you on the street being up to no good and just living on the street. If you have a place to stay, wonderful. Then that's okay with me. But street is not okay.
Thank you, Judge. We'll take care of it.
All right. So pick a day next week. You have to be back here and I'm sending you for a drug test right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot.
For now, Judge, may you step into the gallery?
Please.
Can I get my little?
Yeah, you can just.
What is that?
Thank you.
Oh my God. I even hit the wrong thing because this is actually where we're at. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the show. I have no more videos to play. I know there's a lot more Judge Fleischer that could be shown. I was sitting here thinking while we were watching this, and we were talking about, having an off live chat. Maybe we could have like old dockets from old days where we can like re-comment over the stuff where it's off hours and we don't have to worry about the whole like it being live type of thing. Anyway, that would be cool. I was just thinking. I'm thinking out loud. But all lawyers wear great flowery shirts. That's a rule of YouTube lawyering. I have my flowery shirt. And I have my wolf face, which is funny. I can almost get around it. Anyway, guys, every Saturday, right here, same wolf time, same wolf channel, will be 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will have Manning Mondays, every Monday, and this Monday is no exception. So come by on Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll have some Manning. I do want to let you know that it looks like Manning had 2 dockets this week, so it'll probably be a Monday full of reviewing the dockets from Tuesday and Thursday of this past week. Coming up this Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your Lone Wolf Usul. I've been your curator for the selection of hearings. It's been wonderful having you here. It's been wonderful chatting with everybody. I'll see everybody next time. Thank you for coming by. I'm out.